Welcome to the Open Books Podcast, where we discuss all things going on in the real estate industry, helping you take the road less traveled to real estate success, guiding you to the top 10%. I am your co-host, Curtis Haddock, alongside my brilliant-minded co-host, Casey Tudor, and equally brilliant-minded co-host, Brooke Massey. Today, we are going to be talking about our first episode in a series of 4 titled Commission Breakdown. Where does your money really go? Dun, dun, dun.
Because sometimes it's
no idea.
Sometimes it's a secret.
I mean, sometimes, especially like when you're first joining and you don't know until you get your first paycheck, and then all of a sudden, not what they promised.
Have you guys seen that video of that kid who gets his first paycheck and his parents take him to go get it, or they're picking him up from work or whatever, and he gets in the back of the car and he's opening up the envelope
and stuff,
yeah, and he opens it up and he like looks at it and he's like all disappointed, and the dad's like looking at him in the rearview mirror and he's like, what's wrong, son? And he's like, he doesn't even say anything. He's like, well, it wasn't as much as you expected. And he's like, oh, Uncle Sam got you, didn't he? And he was trying to save up for like an Xbox, and he thought he was going to have enough money for it, and he was shorted because of taxes, so he couldn't get it. He was bummed. And the dad was dying. Yeah. Like, he thought it was the funniest thing he ever saw.
I mean, it's a great lesson in welcome to the world, you know? Mm-hmm. I think I remember my first check, although I had an idea. I knew that there was going to be stuff like taxes taken out. But I don't remember when I really learned about like the taxes that were taken out. Like when I actually learned like how much they were and what they were for. Mm-hmm. Like when my first few paychecks, I just was like, why? What is this? Like all these different line items of things getting taken out. Like this is stupid. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I mean,
well, that happens in the real estate industry, but as far as like commission splits and broker splits and transaction fees and fee this and royalties and I don't know, there's so many different crazy fees out there that different brokerages are all set up differently and take from people. And I talk to agents sometimes and they go and join somewhere and they're like, okay, so they lied to me. I'm like, what do you mean they lied to you? And then they start explaining everything and it's like, well, no, they didn't really lie to you. They just...
You didn't ask the right questions.
You didn't ask the right questions and you didn't read through your independent contractor agreement or whatever. But this is something that people don't know.
They do purposely withhold telling certain information.
Yes,
though.
Which is crappy.
People to read it and figure it out. And it is crappy, although...
We're business owners,
we're
and that's responsible.
And we should be reading the things that we're signing.
That is
and
true.
Not just signing our lives away. And I think a lot of people just are too trusting.
And too busy.
Yeah, we're just too busy. Yeah, I think that's the thing, you know? I don't know if it's that we're too... I mean, I think it's a little bit of that we're too trusting, but like... we just want to get it done with, be done. Like they're good people. They're not going to do me wrong. Let me sign. And now you're committed to this thing. And now we have people that come to us all the time and they're like, well, I can't leave my brokerage or else I'm going to have to pay a couple $1,000.
Yes.
And I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Yes.
Like, why would you sign that? You know, like everybody has expenses when you get started. And if they're not willing to take those on, then they shouldn't be willing to hire you.
Once you get your license, people fail to tell you that everybody comes after you. Everybody wants you to come to their brokerages. Some places don't like new agents, right? But for the majority, recruiting is a big thing in our industry as a whole, no matter what brokerage you're at. If you're a broker owner, then you're one of your main jobs besides producing is recruiting and filling your office with agents. And so they come after people. And so those people like to sell agents on why they should come to their brokerage. And sometimes we call them like smoking mirrors. They tell you this big perception and facade or whatever, saying how great it is, but then they fail to tell you the like fine detail stuff of everything.
And from a business perspective, it's brilliant because
yeah,
we make decisions based off emotions, not logic. And I've been slowly but surely learning that we are. I mean, I always knew we were emotional, but like I didn't realize to what extent.
All the way.
Like it's crazy how emotional we are when we make decisions, and brokerages know this. And it's one of the things I struggle with because I try to be very I personally take a very logical approach to just life and decision making, and therefore I project that onto other people. And I want to make sure that I am very transparent and logical with everything, with making sure they know what they can expect and what they're getting into. And sometimes for lack of a better term, it bites us in the ass because we're being transparent about everything, and these other places are selling more of the emotion and the high splits and this and that. They don't tell them that what comes out of it, and they end up getting the person. And then, but I don't want people to get here and then be upset that they and say they didn't know something.
Yes. Well, it's kind of silly because people get all emotional about money, but then they also get all emotional about actually understanding money, and then they just don't understand it, and it's like it's like a secret emotional trap. That people just fall for.
Yeah, very much so.
And then they land in a brokerage that they didn't really want to be in, and then they just kind of stay there, and
then they either start broker hopping, or they that brokerage ends up burning them out in that first year and killing any kind of hope or energy and that they had about their future in real estate, and it just kills the dream. And then before they can actually get to the right brokerage, they've already burned out and quit and given up.
Well, let's talk about the different types of like commission splits, because I feel like that's helpful to a lot of people.
What's your commission split?
Well, mine's a different, funny kind of one, and we can't really get into it, but it's like 146%.
We can talk about it.
I only asked you that because that's what everyone always asks you.
Well, but it's actually true, and so.
And I think that's what's frustrating is there's two things that people want, especially when you're new, and I would even say people who are producing at a high level and that have been in the industry for a while, they kind of ask for the same things too, just at a different level. But if we're specifically talking about new agents getting into the business, we always hear what's your split, like, and they want the highest possible split, which very, very understandable, right?
And then, do I get a company car?
Yeah. Well,
I'm kidding.
Similar.
We have been
kinda.
asked that.
Yeah.
No.
But I need training and support. That's the thing for especially agents that are coming in not knowing anything about the industry, is I need help. I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea how to sell real estate, and I want you to dedicate your time, your resources, your energy. I want you to take time away from your family,
sacrifice them,
sacrifice your own business and your own production, because I'm choosing to join your brokerage, and because I have graced you with my presence and chose your brokerage, you owe it to me to.
My life is in your hand, dude.
Yeah, to teach me everything that you know.
But I only want to give you $200 transaction fee.
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And unfortunately,
it's supposed to be like a pendulum.
That math doesn't add up.
It doesn't. Yeah, it's not math's not mathing.
Math's not mathing there.
That doesn't exist, and that's what people are looking for, and it doesn't exist.
Which
it's give and take.
Well, that's why we talk about the spread, right? Because there's so much other factors besides your split that goes into how you make money. It's your bottom dollar, right? We talk about as real estate agents, when someone's going to sell their house, it doesn't matter all these fees and stuff. It's the bottom dollar and what they're netting and what are they growing or not growing, you know?
To me, it's like when we talk about for sale by owners, and any agent knows this, like when you're trying to pitch a for sale by owner on why they should list with you, all they think about is how paying a 3%, 6% commission is going to cost them in the long run. If they want to do everything they possibly can to just not pay a commission. And I love, there's a really funny meme type video out there. It's a cartoon, and the guy's like, listen, I understand you don't want to pay a commission, but if I could sell your house for more money, would you consider it? And then the response of the homeowner is, I do not want to pay the commission. Well, okay, what if I paid you $1 million to let me list your home. Would you? I don't want to pay the commission.
Yes.
You know, and it's like, okay.
You're thinking short term and you're stuck
yeah.
on something.
There's a disconnect here. What do you mean? You wouldn't pay? Like, shoot, I would pay you 100% commission if you guaranteed you were going to make me 500% of the value of what we're selling.
Exactly.
Which obviously is not a realistic example, but I'm just saying that when we're talking to for sale by owners, we try to sell them on the net. Who cares what you're going to pay me if you're going to net more because of me? Then shouldn't you hire a professional to list your house?
But how would you do that if you only open a door for someone? How could you net me more?
And it's also
that's really what they're thinking.
Well, they're thinking like, well, how can you do that if I'm paying you 6%?
Right. And if I can't sell it on my own, how would you even help me?
Well,
because I know how to do this. I've sold a house.
But not only that, whatever you can sell the house for, the house is worth what it's worth. I can sell it for the same amount. That's what they really think. Like, if a house is worth $250,000, let's say, then obviously we're not going to be able to sell it for more than $250,000. Maybe in some markets, right? But the reason why we're able to make them more is because we know we're better at pricing and valuing the home, and we're better at negotiating because we do it every day. And when you have more demand, then you have a better chance of getting that market value. Whereas for them, they don't have that as much demand. And there's just so many factors that go into. There's a good chance they're going to sell it for less than what we would be able to sell it for as professionals. So how I compare that to agents is they want 100%, as close to 100% as possible. But in their minds, if joining a brokerage where there's training and support, if we can help them sell 20 houses next year, okay, in their minds, if they can sell 20 houses with us, well, then they can sell 20 houses with the 100% brokerage as well. And so that's kind of like FSBOs think that they're going to be able to sell it for the same price no matter what. Agents think they're going to sell the same number of houses no matter where they go. So why not go with the higher split?
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like, and that's the.
Well, it makes more sense to them.
That's the emotional disconnect and mindset that people are thinking when they're trying to figure out what brokerage to go to.
Yeah, it's like, what are all the resources? Like, okay, if you go to a flat fee brokerage and you get $200 per transaction, okay, well, is that all you get? Do you get a CRM? Do you get training, mentorship? And training and mentorship, so many people in this industry and so many brokerages, I think, understand that this is needed, but they don't understand how to truly implement it properly. And so that's really, really important, especially if you're starting out, or if you've been doing this for a little bit and you want to get your business going a little bit more. You got to hire a coach, and that's why there's so many coaching places out there that do that on the side and make good money, because coaching's needed and people will pay for it. Real estate, this is a career, and I think people forget about it. People get into it and they forget their why. They just get into it for money, and it's like, it's an investment. Don't you want to be good at this? Don't you want to create good habits and learn how to write a contract professionally and learn how to talk to people? Because this career is not easy. So some people make it look easy, but I promise you, when you get down to nitty gritty, it's not.
There's a high fail rate for a reason, and
it's higher than even small business owners,
which is wild when you really think about it. But man,
it really is.
Yeah, I had a point I was going to make, and there we go again.
Realtor brain.
But to Brooke's point, I will say that the resources aspect is a huge thing, because you mentioned CRM. Let's just look at the CRM. What if you go get a transaction fee brokerage, or you find a way to get as close to 100% as possible, but they don't but they're not going to provide the CRM for you. What if that CRM and implementing it the correct way, like you said, what if, that increases your transaction total by 25%?
Oh, because
right?
it will.
Yeah.
Easy.
And if you're using it correctly, first of all,
if you're barely using it, I think it would.
Oh, 100%. And the problem is that when you're at one of those transaction fee type places, now you have to provide the CRM for yourself.
And they're expensive.
That's a cost that is now cutting into your commission split.
Yes.
Right. And so now you are paying for it yourself. But not only that, if you have to pay for it yourself, guess who has to learn how to use it? You have to learn how to use it. Like, you don't have somebody who's showing you how to use it, because you're in a place where everybody's buying their own CRM. Like, your mentor could be using a completely different CRM, or whoever you go to for advice.
And I will argue that this is like off subject, but learn how to use your CRM, because only you understand how you do your business the most. And if you understand the CRM, your business will be 10 times more successful than just hiring somebody to do it. You could still probably hire somebody to do it and help build it out, but you really need to understand how. Yes, you do, because then, like, Jennifer and I have tailored our CRM so much to the point where there's some conversations we don't even have to have now, because our system and stuff just sets it up and just has it for us.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And nobody would know that about us unless they studied us all day, every day. And nobody wants to do that. So,
but that's one of the things that people don't take into consideration is, what are you getting in return for your split, or for what you're paying into the brokerage? And then, I know what I was going to say. You mentioned coaching, and that people will pay for coaching, 100%. So, I know I've told this to you guys, but what would you guys know when you look at the national coaching programs? What is the average monthly average? Okay, I know some people that spend a crap ton of money for coaching.
$500 a month.
I thought it was like a couple thousand.
It's 1,100 average.
Oh. Okay,
but I know people that have spent. They'll spend $2,025 to $3,000 a month on coaching.
Well, because you'll get coaching, and then you got to pay for the one-on-one, then you got to pay for the book, and then you got to pay for this.
And then when you start paying,
and then you pay for this one exclusive only class.
It's like apps now, or TV show. You
and
pay for every channel. Yeah.
Yes.
You're gonna have to start doing that with coaching. It's like, well, now you got to pay for every little thing for coaching, and so it adds up quickly. But just the average cost of a coaching program itself is $1,100. And it limits you on how many conversations you get, how many trainings you get.
Everything is just limited.
It's all limited. And so you talk about $1,100 a month. If you do that math, that's $13,200 a year. That's almost another cap if you're in a cap system.
And sometimes you don't even do more.
And
because coaching,
because it's limited. It's not really truly one-on-one coaching.
No, there's so much in real estate. Like, you need to be able to call somebody like at 7:30. There's no emotional, there's no emergencies in real estate, but sometimes there's emotional emergencies. And you just got to deal with a client, right?
Yeah.
But you can't do that with coaching, and sometimes you have to wait a whole month before you can talk to your coach again, and then you forget about that whole scenario, or didn't get to talk to him. Yes. And now you're just burnt out.
Yeah. So it's like anything. If you are going to start paying for coaching, make sure that you apply yourself and get out of it everything that you can, that you're possibly, that you're paying for. Just take advantage of it.
And none of this is bad. It's just think about all these things.
Yeah, but it's like if it's a cost, that's the point, is that there's a cost to all of this. And the thing that I find the most interesting is anytime I talk to a successful agent that we would say in our minds has done well for themselves. Like they've been doing it for 5 years or longer. They've produced multiple years in a row. They've been able to do real estate full time and earn a living. You talk to them and I challenge anyone listening and watching this episode. Go ask a top producing agent that you are aware of, and ask them if they could give their younger self one piece of advice when they first get into the industry. what is one thing that you would tell yourself is a must do, like something you absolutely have to do?
It's always coaching and mentorship.
Almost every time they say get coaching and mentorship.
They don't say go to a transaction fee and go chase 100%.
And they don't say, make sure you're cold calling and going to open houses and stuff. Now, some people might say that stuff because those things are important when you're first getting started. But they wouldn't, most people wouldn't even know how to do those things if somebody didn't show them or teach them. And I would be hard pressed to say that there are producing agents out there that didn't get help from somebody who came before them.
What's that statistic that we talk about? It's like if you get proper training and mentorship, it goes up like 400% or something.
Yeah, that's field training. Like if you get if you have someone who can train you in the field, you have a 400% higher chance of succeeding. And people can't just give you their time for nothing.
Well, think about that. So it's like, okay, you could go somewhere and produce a couple deals. 6 deals is like the average realtor. So if you're a new agent, if you produce, 3 deals on your own your first year, 3 to 6, you're doing quite well. Yeah. But still, it's probably a struggle. But if you had training and mentorship, think about, and it went up 400%. Just multiply. I don't know what the math is, but it's a lot more deals, and you're going to make a lot more money that way.
Would be 400% more.
Yeah. What's 400% more of 4 deals?
Oh, well, 100% is 4, so 4 times 16 more deals.
Oh, that's a lot more money.
Yeah, so 20 total deals.
See? I'm glad I brought the math guy with us today.
There you go.
I just know 3% of a sales price.
Yeah.
Can't price fix.
I'm just kidding.
I know. Every time I talk about commission now, I'm like, they don't want to pay 6%.
Well, now I know anything. Okay, sorry. Anything up to 3% of a sales price, I know the answer.
Okay, what's 1.7?
Is that better?
1.75.
I don't know. Hold on.
I still need a calculator.
Yeah, I could do any percent calculation.
What is 1.75%?
Alexa, where's she at?
Sometimes I do that when I'm at home.
That's nice. I don't like that.
Well, because I'll be doing a net sheet, and I'm just going to town, and I can do 3 other little things on the net sheet while Alexa's just telling me the answer. So
that's nice.
Multitask.
The different kinds of systems out there. We really didn't get into it. So there is what's called a transaction fee only, and most of us I know this, right? But transaction fee only, where the brokerage charges you per transaction. Look, if you're just looking to maximize your production on what you can do as an individual, okay, then some of these higher split places are going to be better for
unless you're doing 60 transactions a year.
But that's what I was gonna get at. Is the downside to a transaction brokerage is when you start doing a ton of transactions, you're gonna end up paying in way more. But people don't do that math.
If you're a big time producer, you'll be paying $25,000 in compared to 10 to 15,000 at a company that can cap you.
Right.
But I say be very careful chasing that dollar like that, because you're just going to switch brokerages all the time.
You're going to always chase the dollar.
And I don't know, maybe that's okay for some people. Maybe it's, they're at one company 1 year, 2 years later, then another year, 6 months from now.
I think it's there's a statistic that they change 3 to 4 times or something. If that's what they want
to do, I guess I can't fault them. But I want a place to stay and grow and kind of ride it out
and build your business
and build it and not just constantly switch, especially if you're
like the Michael Jordan of real estate, because you're staying with your team.
That's right.
Or or the Kobe Bryant or the Tim Duncan.
Hell, take it all.
Very, very rare does a person stick with the team that they started with.
And it's too stressful to switch. And it's
if
you have any part of your team, like everything that we've built here, like our teams, our vendors, all that stuff. And not that I can't take my vendors with me if I leave, but it's it's all in place. Why do you want to start that over all the time?
But to me, the point of this is that you can do those in any of these systems, any of these, types of commission structures. It's just, you got to think about ultimately what is your goal. So my point is to people is if you're going to be part-time and you're only going to do 1 or 2 deals a year, okay, then only paying a transaction fee, it could make sense for you. However, okay, here's what people here's something we'll never know. We'll never be able to calculate this. I can't tell you, because of our system, how many deals that come to us that we save because we got involved in them. Okay. So that means how many deals are people losing without ever realizing that there was a chance you could have saved it.
Yeah, because it's just a giant puzzle piece.
Right.
So you ever put a 5,000 piece puzzle together by yourself? That shit takes a long time. But if I had help, I'd be like, dang, I've been working on that corner for like 3 days.
But the point I want to make, this is so important, and again, it's going to go down to people are either going to believe this or not, and they're going to think, well, that's not going to happen to me. I can save all my deals, But
that's why I call my broker.
What if you lose one deal? Okay, let's just do, Brooke. This is where you can do your 3% of any deal.
Yes.
What's 3%? Let's do a $250,000 deal. What's 3% of that?
$7,500.
There you go. Boom.
Yay.
Okay, $7,500. Okay, if you lose a $250,000 deal, okay, you chose a brokerage to save a few $1,000s, okay, but you lost a $7,500. You'll never know, right? This is one thing that we can't calculate because we don't know what could have been saved and what couldn't be. But what I can tell you is that we save deals all the time through our system. $7,500, that's a lot of money to lose and not even know you could have had it to begin with, and so that's my point, is you don't know how many deals you're giving up. But there's the transaction fee, there's a monthly fee, which has become popular over the last 5-6 years. I don't see any new agents going to a monthly fee because it's too scary for them, like to pay $300, $400, $500 a month to be at a brokerage. But if you produce at a high level,
it's nothing.
You're paying $3,000-$4,000, and you can do unlimited. You can do the 60 transactions, and then it's a fixed fee, right? But in those systems, you're on your own.
And you have dot loop or whatever you use, and then
you're
insurance
with all the resources,
and so it could end up being over $1,000 or $2,000 a month if you're doing your websites. And I mean, who knows?
Is that it probably ends up like equaling out in the end, is to some degree, to some capacity.
Yeah.
And so that's why Brooke and Casey and I, we always say, what is your spread on these deals that you're doing? Not what is your split. What is your spread? Because Brooke's split is 80%, but her spread, as she said, her true split when she adds everything up is like almost 150%. Let's round up to 150.
Plus all my resources.
So her spread is 70%. Okay. And plus she gets all the resources. Okay. So she's getting 80% plus a 70% spread, making her total check 150%. She's building a business, right? That's why people start brokerages. That's why people, want to recruit, is because they can leverage multiple deals versus your ability to do one deal. And when you start going to a transaction fee, monthly fee, a cap system, nothing wrong with any of them, but when you start going into those, then you just put yourself in a box of, you are now producing, like the amount of money you make is limited to how much you can produce as an individual. And some of you guys are fantastic realtors, top producers. You can build a team and make a good amount of money. What we like to teach is how to make that into a business. And if you want to capitalize in a cap system like that, we teach that too. But I always encourage people, you better take the money you're making and invest it into some wealth building activity, investment, whatever.
Which will be on one of our next episodes.
Yeah. So tune in for episode 2, 3, or 4. I don't know which one it is, but tune in. So yeah, those are the different splits. There are systems. Again, transaction fee, monthly fee, there's cap system. There's straight up nothing, right? Like you have a split and that's it. In those systems, I sure hope that you're getting a ton of value if you're sticking around in those.
Like someone better be handing you a bunch of deals and make 100,000 plus.
Yeah, or in a system like ours, you're getting a huge spread for it.
Yeah. Which those could be tricky too.
And then there's and then revenue share, right? Or profit sharing too. Those are basically the main commission structure. So just know, take everything into consideration. Just like when you're doing a job, a W-2 salaried position, a lot of people don't realize if you're getting benefits, like let's say your salary is $40,000 a year, and then you're getting benefits like health, 401k contributions, you're getting all this stuff. Your real salary could be like $55,000.
Yes.
So when you go and compare to like people they just don't think about this. They're like, I want to go get another job, and they're going to offer me, instead of $40,000, they're going to pay me $47,000 a year, but there's no benefits.
Man, I had this. That's why I had so much employee turnover in my previous career, because our healthcare, we did not pay the greatest, but our healthcare was so cheap, and people would all the time go somewhere else for like $5, $6, $7 more an hour.
Yeah.
Then they would call me up and be like, my paycheck's the exact same. I was like, man, I told you.
Yep.
They don't think about it.
They don't.
They just think about how much they got paid per hour.
That's it. That's all they think about. And that's what FSBOs do. That's what agents do. Do the math. Just do the math.
You really got to think about
that person.
You really got to think about where your money goes, and if you're thinking like, okay, what if I give 30% of my commission or $500 a transaction, what do I get in return? Would be the question that you got to ask yourself. And those are the questions you should be asking your brokerage, not just what the split is, because I want the most amount possible regardless of what you offer me.
Yeah.
So that concludes episode 1. Where does your money really go?
Dun, dun, dun.
And on episode 2, we will be discussing negotiating your commissions like a pro.
Good job.
Thanks for listening. Please comment, subscribe, like, click the bell, do the things. We love you. We'll see you next time. I'm Casey Tudor. This is Curtis Haddock and Brooke Massey.